Good evening. I'm Matthew Ngulovakundua.
And I'm Geraldine Sen.
Tonight, to talk more about the new tax information system, revenue collection to VAT monitoring system, and subjects ranging from a dog unit to coastal watch program, I have the Fiji Revenue and Customs Services Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Viswanath Das. Good evening, Mr. Das, and thank you for coming on the show tonight. Now, I'd like you to tell us more about the new tax information system.
Thanks, Matthew, and thanks, Geraldine, for this opportunity. What Fiji Revenue and Customs Service is doing is we have undertaken a new IT project, and that is more so in line with our new strategic plan, where, of course, everyone notes that the name change that we have had from authority to service. So certainly we're becoming more service focused and becoming a customer centric organization, trying to see how we can better serve our customers. Now with that in mind, we also realize that really we can capitalize on the opportunities that technology presents. So with that, we have undertaken a $48 million project, IT project, probably biggest in Fiji, and whereby we are looking at sort of envisioning ourselves in the next 2 years or so coming to a paperless platform, whereby our customers, from the convenience of their homes or businesses, they can very effectively lodge their returns, pay their taxes, and they don't have to go through all the hassle and inconvenience of coming down to Revenue and Customs Service offices to get the services they require. So in that respect, you must have also seen a number of public notices we have done and media presentations we have done, whereby we are requesting our customers, tax-paying population of Fiji, to actually log on to our website and provide an information update that we have, of the information we have about taxpayers. So what we are actually intending to do is, because the new way of doing business is about voluntary compliance. Gone are the days, we really want to be chasing taxpayers to comply. So in order to enable a voluntary compliance environment, what needs to happen is, the tax office needs to provide all the information necessary for a customer or for a taxpayer to be able to make a self-assessment of their taxes. So in order to do that, we have taken a IT modernization project whereby we will use IT platform to provide all the relevant information that is there, and more so taxpayers will have their own portal, taxpayer portals. So you need to log into your portal and be able to know your tax status, if you want to apply for a tax compliance certificate, or you're applying for a tax clearance, or want to see the progress of your assessment and things like that. So from a taxpayer portal for a customer portal, you can have access to all that kind of information which is relevant to you. So, and then also the IT project is also to sort of create a better efficient business for us. At the same time, all organizations face this challenge that you have limited resources, so you want maximum return from the limited resources. So technology is actually the way forward of doing business. So that's where we have taken this project, and we look forward. This is a 24 months project that is on the ground, and it's already 3 months on the ground. So we are currently in the design stages, and come end of 2019, early 2020, we expect to be having a new IT system rolled out for a better customer service and experience.
I believe your website, I've been on your website, it's very interactive, very user-friendly. You can access some of these services already, eh?
Yes, actually, in terms of information on various taxation and or various scenarios, or even we have our practice statements, practice notes. You might want to know how does these items or these transactions get taxed. You can find some of that information on our website. Also, we are developing the online chat So you can log onto our website and go for online chatting with a customer service officer. That's also available there.
And I believe you also have a hotline that they can call every weekdays from.
Oh yes.
How has that been?
That's more importantly, it works quite well with the whistleblower. There's much more we get a lot of whistleblower calls on those kind of lines. But at the same time, we also have a call center. So 6 to 6 every day, 5 days a week. Customers could also call in and probably they are inquiring what is the return processing status of their returns, or would like to know if they are owing anything, or they want to they intend to import something, they want to know what the duties would be, or what's the process, the import licensing and things like that. So that kind of services are also available from our call centers and on the web as well.
With this new technology that is going to be implemented, of course you would have had to partner with an overseas company to help get the technology that would help with these services. I've heard that you had to get the services of Invenio Solutions. That's a British company.
Yes, you may have noticed. We ran a very transparent tender process. It took us. I would say probably this process has been ongoing for the last 4 or 5 years. Where we did, the initial assessment and, tried to establish the gaps in the current system. And then, we had a very transparent tender process, bidders bid, and then we had, site visitations, looking at some practical implementations, site visits for that. And then finally we came up with selecting Invenio Business Solutions. That's a company out of UK. And who have had implementations done in countries like Mauritius, Maldives, Saudi Arabia, basically some comparable countries, and thus they finally successfully went through the tender process, and there we have them.
So they're also going to be establishing a subsidiary operation in Fiji, and that's going to be acting as a hub for the entire region.
Of course, that's a business decision, and we certainly wanted them to have, be based here in Fiji, so that ease of support service and all those things. So, and of course, you see that Fiji provides, being a hub of the Pacific, it provides a lot of business opportunity, and I think it's business for them as well, to sort of step into Fiji and extend into the Pacific as well.
Is there anyone else involved in this project?
Yeah, it's our internal, of course, internal IT team. Of course, then the business has to, because it's all about understanding the business and then designing a system. What we have done is actually we decided to sort of get into a commercial of the shelf model. Certainly, you don't have a straight out commercial of the shelf tax system. It will certainly require customization given the tax laws of Fiji. But then we have consultants, project managers working to ensure the success of the project.
Well, if you're trying to make it more user-friendly with the website, are you coming out with an app as well?
Yes, that's also in the pipeline for now. We know the demand is there, but that's in process, and soon we should be offering that kind of service as well.
With the new tax information system, I just thought I'd touch on the VAT monitoring system, also EFD. That's a little too technical. Maybe we could touch on that after the break.
Yeah, we'll just go to a quick break right now, and then we'll be back. You're watching For the Record. Good evening and welcome back. Geraldine, I believe that you have a question.
Yes. Prior to the break, I had mentioned about the VAT monitoring system, which is also known as electronic fiscal device system. Of course, that's a little bit too much for the layman. Could you please explain more about what it is, how it works?
Well, thanks for that question. I mean, this is so much of a talk of the town for now. Of course, I'd probably take you back to an IMF report that we have discussed a number of times. Basically, a report done by IMF indicating that Fijian economy, almost 1/3 is in black. Now, this is not a problem or an issue that Fiji only faces. It is all over. Wherever there is business or sort of cash transactions prevalent, you have this issue of black economy. So given the fact that Fiji has $9-10 billion economy, so one third, so definitely $3 billion in black, and if you translate into tax revenues, income taxes and VAT, so you're looking at something like $700-800 million that is out there. And why do we need this? Of course, a bit of economics here. Of course, the government needs the revenue to provide for public goods and services, and certainly public goods and services, do not attract so much business interest because, it's really not making profit.
Yeah.
So you need to, and at the end of the day, it's government's responsibility to ensure the well-being of the citizens, and then the provision of public goods and services becomes very, very important, such as medical services, education, and things like that. So with that in mind, looking at how do we curb the revenue leakage that we have, globally, you see, so when government tries to raise revenue, generally the trends are to increase tax rates. But here in Fiji, the government policies have been quite opposite. So we reduced the tax rates from 31 to 20, the VAT rates from 15 to 9. And, if I may, despite all these reductions, what has happened, in the last 5 months, very honestly, I'm experiencing a revenue growth of up to 14%. So that means these tax reform policies that are in place are very, very sustainable, like stable policies we have in place, and the reforms that has happened, it is working. So the whole idea has been, to reduce the income taxes, to put more money into the hands of the consumers, and of course, more money into the hands of consumers means, their ability to spend more. And then again, reducing the VAT rate means, they can actually expand, it gives them more choice, they can have broader range of things, and it actually increases the affordability for taxpayers. So whilst all this thing is happening, and globally the trend is move away from income taxes into consumption taxes. So consumption taxes is more proportionate, so the more you consume, the more you pay.
Yeah.
So that way, what happens is, so finally the consumers are paying the taxes, and therefore, because the businesses act as an agent of the state in collecting these taxes, that brings an important point that, sometimes businesses don't realize, and probably small and medium businesses also think like that VAT or VAT is a cost to business. It is not a cost to business. Because what happens is, you collect it from your customers, and then whatever you spend in terms of, as your expenses, you get to claim it against the VAT you have collected, and therefore the net you remit to the government or through the Fiji Revenue and Customs Service. So VAT in no way is a cost to business. So really businesses should not be complaining that VAT is a cost. But what the issue is that whilst businesses do this, they do not fully remit the VAT collected to the state. So basically, they are sort of, pocketing the trust funds, the trust money. So for that reason, we needed to bring in a monitoring and evaluation technology. And of course, today's world is about technology.
Yeah.
So we've introduced this VAT monitoring system. Now, many may believe that, this is something odd or new that is being done in Fiji. Actually, if you look at data, there are more than 100 countries in the world that have done this. And most of the places where this has been done, especially where there has been, a huge amount of black economy, what has happened is the revenue has sort of, grown 4 times or by 40%, and different rates have been there. So that is, that is the state in Fiji as well. If I may take this opportunity, remind you of, the recent supermarket case that we had.
Yeah.
$63 million. So you can imagine, the defrauding of the state that is happening in terms of, tax revenues. So, to bring control over that comes, we introduced the VAT monitoring system. So now what the system does is, it does not change the business so much, except for the fact that the VAT monitoring system, it only creates that point of sale, control, whereby before the receipt is issued to a customer, the software or the system picks up electronic signatures from the tax office.
I see.
So that way what happens is everything that is sold it's already the information is submitted to the tax office. So at the end of the month, say, you're lodging, the taxpayer is lodging a VAT return. So we already have, pre-populated information what the sale is. So with manual systems, what happens is, you can manually sort of manipulate numbers, how much you want to reveal as sales and how much you, and then you have, you keep 2 sets of books, you have false invoices, and all these challenges are around it. So, this success of the VAT monitoring system also lies in the hands of the consumers.
Yeah.
Now, what we have done for the consumers is that what will happen after the implementation of the VAT monitoring system is, the receipts will have a QR code at the bottom of the receipt. And what we have gone on to do is that we have also created a mobile app. It's already in the Google Play Store, FRCS Receipt Verificator. So what consumers can do is, download that free app, and when you get your receipt,
you just
can
scan the code.
scan the code, and immediately real time you'd be able to get response from the tax office to verify if your invoice is bona fide.
That's very ingenious.
It is ingenious. And wait, we'll just go to a quick break right now, and then we'll be back. You're watching For the Record. Good evening and welcome back. Now, Mr. Das, just touching on from where we left off, what would businesses need to do to become compliant?
Well, that's not too difficult because, say for example, you look at bigger supermarkets, they already operate a point of sale system. So what the point of sale system vendors need to do is, just make their point of sale softwares compliant to VAT monitoring system. So there's a whole lot of sort of, if I can say, on our website also, and this has been going on for the last 6 months or so, where initially the first phase taxpayers, which were the supermarkets, which are the supermarkets and the pharmacies, they needed to comply by 31st December. So there was a bit of delay in the readiness of the taxpayers as well as the Revenue and Customs. So there was an extension given, which is now due on the 28th of Feb. So what the businesses had to do, and as of last evening, we have actually accredited 4 of the 9 vendors in this respect.
Yeah.
So what basically happens is the software provider or the POS vendor, they have accredited themselves. So what we have done is we have tested them, seeing how the receipt data gets posted to FRCS server, and then the receipts are issued to the customers, and the customers can verify it. So that's the software provider. Now what the supermarket or the pharmacist needed to do or need to do is before the 28th or the 1st of March, what they need to do is they need to register with us online. It's on our website, so they just need to register, and they pick up a smart card that needs to go with their point of sales.
What happens if they don't register in time? What are the repercussions for that?
Generally what's going to happen, the law says, is there's a penalty imposition that happens. But what we are saying to what we are assuring the supermarkets and the pharmacies is they need to start the compliance process. So at least they get registered, they pick up a smart card from us, and then we know from the vendors, whoever is the service provider to them, they all have implementation plans. So say for example, a pharmacy has 10 registers, 10 operators point of sale, or a supermarket has say 50 point of sale. So the POS vendor knows exactly that this implementation upgrade will just take me say 4 days to do. So for that, we are deferring the enforcement of the penalty, but generally not extending the timeline because my experience says that really in Fiji, people like to rush things to the last minute.
Yeah, that's true.
You give them another extension, they'll wait till the end of the month, and I say they haven't complied. But we will defer the imposition of penalties. So really, but what we want people to do by 28th Feb is to come on board, have their businesses registered, and this is only for the first phase, which is the supermarkets and pharmacies, and by number, it's just about 100 and 110 odd businesses. That's all. It's not too big a number anyway.
And I believe to make this transition even smoother, you held workshops with
yes, we
supermarkets?
have. Yeah, we have been having public awareness as well. And mind you, the post vendors, the 9 that we are working with, 4 is already 100% accredited, and the other 5 that is still probably should be done by end of today.
Through this awareness talks, what were you able to identify from them that would sort of like restrict them or make it harder for them to do this? Did they come up with any issues or barriers from their side?
I would say it is more so in the mind than real issues.
Yeah.
It's really that probably we tried a level of engagement, and probably I'd like to encourage taxpayers also, customers also, that if they have any issue they should proactively engage with us. So what I found out going myself into these forums, the assurance they have gotten in terms of that they were really probably in a panic state, saying what happens on the 1st of March, will we be dishing out $250,000 fines or 10-year imprisonments, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But people also need to appreciate that the fact that we are also very, very reasonable. We understand commercial reality. I absolutely understand the implementation challenges. You might the market the supply may not be there and this and that.
Yeah.
But I certainly want definite plans of it. So you'll be able to do it in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, whatever it be. But we need to look at your definitive plans. Because again, I'll refer back to the 2 extensions that has been given, and again we have a last-minute rush. It simply means people don't take it seriously.
With this VAT monitoring system, what is the estimated cost of having installing it, and also is there any way to become compliant free of charge?
Well, of course, we knew that our aim is, our objective is to minimize the cost of compliance.
Yeah.
For that, again, on the Play Store, we went ahead and we have also provided a free point of sale app.
Okay.
That is usable on smart gadgets, tablet and mobile phones. You can do that, and so that's the support we are giving. But at the same time, the free app is not sort of meant to put competition to the market in terms of post providers. We still want them to do their business, and therefore when you ask about the costs, really we have left it to the market forces to play. And what we have seen in a couple of weeks recently is that the more players are coming into the market, the prices are going really down.
I see.
And we have also come out with a product. We have also found a supplier who is, I know initially the idea was, and everyone understands that, with VAT monitoring system, what will happen is, you probably have a black gadget, that you plug it to your point of sale system and it starts. So that option is there still, but look at the technological advancement. Now we have a provider who has come up with a soft device solution. So basically it's a software which does not require a external device. But what happens is, on your point of sale system, on your computer system, you just need to install this software and program it so that before the receipt is printed, this is picking up the electronic signatures of the tax office. So as soon as you are online, and then all the data gets transmitted to the tax office. And the good thing about this is also the way the QR code is designed, it has the information of cumulative sales for the business as well.
Oh. I see.
So it's like, one customer walks into the shop, he's the first customer of the day, so probably, he gets his receipt, that's fine, that records that sale. So maybe, during the day there's a little bit of downtime or, internet went off or this and that. So this software or the external device allows you to keep issuing receipts. And so end of the day, the last receipt you issue, it has the total sales for the day.
Okay.
So really there's no no way
there's
to
no
sort of suppress sales.
Thank you for that, Mr. Das. We'll just go to a quick break right now, and then we'll be back. You're watching For the Record. Good evening and welcome back. Now, Mr. Das, one of the things that I read about from the Revenue and Customs, especially the work that you've been doing, is the detector unit, the Fiji detector dog unit. Could you tell me more about that?
Thanks, Matthew, for that. Yes, Fiji detector dog unit program It's a collaboration between Fiji Revenue and Customs, Fiji Police, New Zealand Customs, and New Zealand Police.
Yeah.
So really, it's a program for border control, and particularly we have issues around the fact that in the Pacific, Fiji being the hub, it also becomes a transshipment point as well, and all the challenges that we have around currency smuggling, the drug enforcement,
Yeah.
So because we sort of become gateway to Australia and New Zealand, so it's their interest as well that they partner with us in this project. So it's a New Zealand Foreign Affairs sponsored project, and we have very successfully implemented the detector dog program. I'm sure you'll recall, the initial one we had was in Nandi. That was back in 2015, late 2015, 2016, early 2016. And that has proven quite successful, and that led to the recently opened one that we have done in Suva. Once again, the same model that we have followed. Now, what the detector dogs do is, they have capability for drug detection, firearm detection, and currency detection as well.
Firearm detection as well.
Yes.
Currency detection is in they can smell the money?
Yes, that's how they are trained to do. These dogs are actually Australian dogs and trained in New Zealand. And
then brought to Fiji.
And then brought to Fiji.
So our stats, some stats, that the success of the project has been, I think the last year, we had some 35 detections, and in terms of currency, about $6.1 million of currency is detected. So, it's either coming into the country or on departure. So, I think from voluntary compliance perspective, it's good to share information like this so that really the idea is that traders and travelers comply rather than be caught violating the laws. So what these dogs have been doing is so that we use them at the wharf, the parcel posts, cargo coming in and out, and also at the airports to detect drugs or even currency for outgoing passengers. So basically, this is a concept that's followed world over. So sometimes you see them at the airport, and some of the times they may not be in the airport terminal, but they may be on the air side. So your luggage and everything is being sniffed.
I guess the question is, do we have enough dogs to cater for in terms of customs?
Yes, under the program, it's like 4 dogs in Nandi, and now we have 4 in Suva.
Wow, that's wonderful. Speaking of wonderful things, this is the first time that FRCS has partnered with a coastal village for monitoring stuff that's happening out at sea. Of course, Fiji being an island nation, there's a lot of shady deals, shady business that could happen. Would you like to elaborate more on that, please?
Yes, again, this is our partnership or collaboration for the border security, because that's one of our roles. We look after border security as well. We basically represent some 23 agencies at the border. So generally when you come at the wharf or you come at the airport, generally people say, it's customs, but we do represent other agencies as well. Now when, as you rightly said, being an island nation, this is a challenge all over the Pacific. Being island nations, how much of our borders or coastal watch capabilities do we have, if you look at just Fiji Revenue and Customs, our capacity or ability to be looking over everything. So this is again a partnership approach, as we have had in our new corporate plan, one of the strategic focus areas for us is partnership. So here, this is the first launch we have done for this year's Customs Day celebrations, is partnering with Navitao village in that area, because there's when you look at Savu and the Viuni and along that space, there's things coming, yachts coming that way as well. So if you look at Fiji map, Savu tends to be a bit hidden away, but the entries that happen and the risk people don't realize. Why we wanted this partnership to happen is that sometimes, we don't realize that, there's human trafficking issues.
Yeah.
There is drug trafficking issues, and when we look at, drugs, it is not simply we are looking at, we have tried to stop or, seize some drug and what's the value. It's not the dollar value of the drug that is the only factor. You look at the social impacts of it.
Yeah.
You can, it's basically losing the productivity or the ability for productive labor to be there. If people abuse these substances, then, you have lots of social issues and things like that. So we need the support of the community as well in doing this work. So this is our first attempt, to partner with the Navetau villages, and it is very good to have them come on board. So basically, if they see any suspicious activity, they call us, they call our hotlines, and they inform us, and then we are able to coordinate with the police and other agencies who all collaborate to ensure the security of Fiji.
Any plans in place to partner with other villages or any other agencies that might like to help out with, securing our borders internally?
Yeah, we have an open invitation, other villages, currently we are also looking at some, opportunities around Yasawas as well.
Okay.
So we're basically looking at all the entry points, where vessels or yachts could be entering into Fiji, and those are the key strategic places that we need to focus on.
Thank you for that, Mr. Das. We'll just go to a quick break right now, and then we'll be back. You're watching For the Record. Good evening and welcome back. And one of the things that I wanted to touch on, Mr. Das, was the whistleblower policy. How's that been so far?
Again, whistleblower policy has been very effective, and in the recent times, if you can see, the amount of rewards that we are giving, and probably, each individual.
What's the biggest?
The biggest reward that we have given so far is $250,000.
That's non-taxable, right?
Yeah. So, I think, whistleblower policy, I would say encourage that, it's not simply about the reward. I think, people also need to feel the passion for
to do the right thing.
To do the right thing.
Yeah.
I think, if, just as this goes for bribing, it's not only the recipient, it's the giver as well. So if you see that, people are having these shady dealings, you have evidence, you have been asked, even now, like, we get lots of referrals on a simple, like, as consumers, I said, you need to check your receipt.
Yeah.
Or you have bought something, you have not been given a receipt. Those things also, that does not necessarily fall under, a reward program. But, it's your cooperation into making sure that everyone is getting tax compliant. And, at the end of the day, I have a great passion to, see that, there's level playing field for everyone. So if you and I, as employees, we have no choice but our taxes get deducted every fortnight or, every payday. So likewise for businesses, certainly they help grow the economy, but, they should do that in a rightful manner, not by defrauding the state or defrauding customers. So, that's where we all need to work together. And, of course, some of the big cases that we have investigated, it has come from whistleblower referrals as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'd just probably like to take this opportunity to also remind whistleblowers, it's not simply a matter of, picking up the phone and, just calling tax office and saying, oh, I suspect, my neighbor is doing this. Whistleblower policy actually goes a bit more deeper than that, because, it's again limited resources and we need to better utilize it. So the whistleblower needs to provide some level of evidence that results into a tax discrepancy or tax collection. Then based on that, the whistleblower becomes entitled to a reward of up to 10%. So that analysis, the due diligence is also done to say what the percentage of the reward should be.
In some cases where people obviously big companies, like let's say certain supermarket chains that had to pay the fine that you placed on them. Yes, the fine is one thing, but no one was charged. Is there any form of legislation that can help with that now, or that's in the process of that?
Yes, the challenge with that was that prior to the new legislation that has just come about, the law provided for either or. So we could either fine them, do a financial penalty, or prosecute them. But then now the law is changed. So going forward, it is and or. So basically, what can happen is, you also face a financial penalty as well as prosecution, depending on the seriousness. And of course, and one of the other lessons that we have learned is, we also determine industry practices.
Yeah.
So, if there is a fraudulent practice in the industry, then certainly there's a much bigger compliance message that needs to go out, which would probably be better achieved by a prosecution. So, you really need to put someone behind bars so that, everyone toes the line,
Because if not, everyone will just, businesses will keep doing it.
Yes. And that's why, maybe in the recent times you are seeing, the Revenue and Customs audit investigations are working sort of, high penalties. Because, low penalties is just like, okay, so it's just like a financial cost of, so let's take a shot at it, so maybe, we get caught, on 7 years down the line, so that'll just be a financial cost to us,
And the last one was what, 5 years, and was 62 million?
Yeah, 63 million.
63 million, and no jail time.
Yeah.
That's rather unfair.
Wow.
Okay.
Is there like anything that you'd like to tell the people of Fiji in terms of wanting them to access your services, if there's anything they need to know?
Yes, thank you, Matthew, again for that opportunity. I think, I'd just like to encourage all taxpayers, it's about tax transparency and level playing field. I think if you're observing anything which is, does not appear to be right, we need to be alerted on that. And from the consumer's perspective, I encourage again and again, please, when you do business transactions, or you do shopping or buy things, please ask for a receipt. You should always, that's your right, you should ask for a receipt, because even your action of asking for a receipt is actually encouraging tax compliance. And lastly, I'd like to encourage everyone once again, saying, go to our website, and I request everyone that, as I said earlier, our new IT project, we also need to do data cleansing of the data we have, information we have about taxpayers. So you need to go to our website, go to your MyInfo portal, and do a quick registration, and you will get all the information that is held about you, individuals, businesses, for everyone. You'll be able to see your data only, but you will get sort of a dashboard of all the information that we have about you.
Yeah.
So you can verify whether it's correct or not correct.
Okay.
And also you need to sort of update your email in a mobile phone context, because as I said, when we go into the paperless mode of operation, so we'll be doing text messaging, we'll be sending emails in a very secured email system on your portal. So I seek the cooperation of all taxpayers to do that in order to comply, as well as to enable us to provide better service for all the customers.
I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight and shedding some light on the new tax information system, but also on everything else that the Revenue and Customs Services is doing. Fiji Revenue and Customs Services is doing.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we wish you a productive year as well. Hopefully
Yeah.
there's going to be, quite more whistleblowers coming your way later on.
Thank you.
That is all we have time for you this evening. However, if you have any queries or issues you would like to raise with the Fiji Revenue and Customs Services, you can call their hotline on 1326 every weekday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. or email info@frcs.org.fj. And from the team, Geraldine and myself, good night.